Rudy is one of those classic sports movies that everyone loves. Well, I guess everyone loves it except for 10-year-old me who thought it was just a boring tale with little football and no championship game at the end. Still, I went back and watched Rudy, and boy did I do a reversal on my opinion of the movie. My next thought was, hey, why don't I make a video on Rudy and what happened to him since? We'll go over his life from his time at Notre Dame to that time he made Kobe cry. Yes, Kobe Bryant. That one's a touching story, so stick around for that. We also have a wonderful new sponsor, the coldest water bottle. I'll tell you what, I left this bottle in the car the other day for several hours, and when I came back, it was still ice cold. You're going to want to check that one out. Links in the description. Use promo code CHATS for 10% off. So this is the third video I've made on what happened to certain famous football people whose stories were told in movies. I've already done Michael Orr from The Blind Side and Sunshine, plus other characters in Remember the Titans. And now we have Rudy, and by the way, this is the real footage of the famous player watching right now. After that one play, I don't think anyone at the time or sometime after that would have any idea that that garbage time sack would create an entire career out of nothing, except maybe Rudy himself. After his obsession to play in a Notre Dame football game had been fulfilled, Rudy moved on to a new obsession, and that was to make a movie out of his story. This is what ESPN had to say. Back in the 1980s and early 90s, Rudy was no longer the crazy little Notre Dame walk-on. He was the crazy former Notre Dame walk-on obsessed with making a movie out of his life. He sold insurance and then sold cars until the guy who ran the dealership said Rudy was too focused on making a movie to sell cars. So then, he started mowing lawns. He says he would host cookouts at his South Bend condo, where Notre Dame players, past and present, coaches, and anyone would stop by. They'd drink beer, and Rudy would tell them all again about how he had seen Rocky in the movie theater nearly 1 year to the day after his sack against Georgia Tech, and said, I'm going to make a movie about my story because it can inspire people just like Sylvester Stallone did. It's funny how the movie is based on a story of never giving up, and the only reason this movie was made is because Rudy never gave up on finding someone to make a story on his story. It's pretty much like a Rudy Inception. Rudy was supposed to meet with screenwriter Angelo Pizzo of Hoosiers fame, but got stood up. He says he persuaded a local mail carrier to show him Pizzo's address and banged on the door until Pizzo agreed to a meeting. Pizzo, an Indiana University grad, said he hated Notre Dame and didn't want to be pigeonholed into Hollywood as a guy who only wrote movies about sports in Indiana. A year later, Pizzo called back. The executive who greenlit Hoosiers in 1986 was now at a different studio and had money set aside to do another sports movie. So, in early 1991, Pizzo flew to South Bend and spent weeks walking the campus, talking with Rudy and his friends, and then he told Rudy to trust him. After that, well, the rest is history, and his legend has only grown since. Rudy's received letters from presidents like Bill Clinton, both Bushes, and Barack Obama. He spends his days visiting schools, telling his stories at corporate events, and doing other motivational speeches, as well as signing autographs and sometimes acting in commercials, alongside the man who played him in the movie itself.
Rudy's back. But this time, he's got a new dream.
When I'm finished with college, I'm gonna be Colonel Sanders.
You can't be Colonel Sanders. You're Rudy.
Hey, Rudy, I got something for you. You're born to be the Colonel.
Don't you get it? There's no such thing as a crazy dream. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm becoming him. Howdy, folks. I don't care what anybody says. I'm making that chicken. We're gonna get him in the fryer, boys. And once we get him in the fryer, we're gonna go, 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 go. We're not gonna stop until it's finger licking good.
From the creators of The Double Down.
Are you ready for this?
I've been ready for this my whole life.
Rudy 2. He's Colonel Sanders now.
Rudy's life is actually even more action-packed than you can imagine. There's actually even some notable things that happened to him at college that the movie ended up leaving out. Like how he met Elvis in college and gave him a Notre Dame shirt that Elvis apparently wore all the time, according to Elvis's stepbrother. And Rudy also happened to get on the cover of Sports Illustrated while being a mop boy for the Notre Dame basketball team. And he even worked security for Elton John. Then there was that time years later when Rudy showed up for a Lakers game. During the shoot-around, Kobe walks up to him and says, "Are you Rudy? The real Rudy?" After Rudy said yes, Kobe started to cry and told him that he was his hero. He said the main reason he made it to the NBA was because of Rudy and the lessons he learned from the movie about not giving up. There's plenty of people like Kobe, and then you also have the Joe Montanas of the world who try and downplay the movie. I mean, there's plenty of people who will criticize the movie for not being fully truthful, but guess what? Any movie that's based on a true story is never gonna actually be fully truthful. So yes, even Joe Montana needs to become a little more like Joe Cool and realize this isn't a documentary. I mean, even Rudy himself has said that the movie is about 92% accurate, which is actually pretty dang high. And if you're wondering, this is what Rudy has to say to people like that. There are two kinds of people. There are the ones who believe in your dreams, and there are the ones who think it's their job to crush those dreams. You know what? Let the a-holes pick on whatever they want to pick on. If it makes them happy to say no one laid a jersey down on Dan Devine's desk or that the whole team didn't carry me off the field, hey, whatever, man. But every single day I've got people coming up to me, thanking me for bringing a little something to their lives, a couple hours of inspiration to their lives, veterans and kids and people dying of cancer. You know what? I'll take those people over the Joy Stealers. My people outnumber the Joy Stealers 1,000 to 1. And as we wrap things up, we have to mention the actor that played Rudy. Sean Astin became even more famous as Sam in Lord of the Rings, and he's been in a number of things since then, including that one lovable role he had in Stranger Things. If you enjoyed this one, then remember to check out my videos on The Blind Side, and remember the Titans, real people as well. And please subscribe for more content just like this.
You gave a jersey to Elvis. I said, how would you know that? He said, I was in the back seat. I'm his stepbrother. I said, oh my God, what a small world. Isn't that wild?